Hi everyone, welcome to White Noise. My name is Robyn and I am your host today. I'm your host today. As always, I guess. Summer has moved away now, so she's really not going to be hosting here anymore, which is so sad. But she's getting her freaking PhD, so it's not that sad. It's actually really cool, and I feel like a loser. No, I'm kidding. She's just like a genius, and we're all so proud of her. And yeah, although we'll miss her, she's always right next to me in spirit. And one day she's gonna come back here and bring all of this like genius brainiac knowledge with her and relay all of her studies and findings to us, and we're gonna be like, oh my god, like that's so cool, because it is. And yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's the middle of the summer. It's gonna be a chill night. Thank you all for coming who came, and I'm excited to hear what everyone has to perform. I don't know who's first on the list. Maybe someone can tell me.
Me.
Oh, perfect. First up tonight is Lovejoy. Dagan, welcome to the stage.
I don't know what I'll do. Well, that's what makes it cool. Going in and out of style. Join me for a mile. We can be together now. Yes, I'll show you how. Here we are, all as one. Let's have some fun. So I've been thinking about truth, especially in these times. How do you know what's true? Huh? And whose truth is it anyway? And if it's your truth, does that make it better than someone else's truth? Do we own our truths, or do we borrow our truths? When was the last time I lost the truth? Can you replace truths? Are there greater truths? Lesser truths? So this is where my head goes with this sort of stuff. It's not a conspiracy. It's just a different way of looking at things. You take turns doing the impossible, and then you come into some sort of a fabulous vision of things that you never even imagined. You can call anything truth. You can get righteous about your truth. Truth can be flamboyant. It can be whimsical. It can be despondent. It can even be obnoxious. Truth can be anything you want it to be, or nothing at all. But why do I obsess on it? Why am I thinking of truth? Well, I guess I see things changing so fast in the world, and what I used to think was true is maybe not true, and what I never thought would be possible could be true. So I think we're all on the precipice of having to readjust what we think is true. Here are some things my grandmother never, ever said. You're never too tall for pudding. An honest man's tears are always salty. A paper crown still attracts wasps. An upside-down rake could be your uncle. And you can ride 3 unicycles with one opinion. Now, are we going to say that is true? Are those true isms? Is this how religions are formed? You hear something obscure, and you give it you charge it up, you give it a value, and you say, that's not just true, that's true for everybody. Now I'm going to preach the word. That seems old-fashioned. What can we do right now to show that this is how? Do we believe in the good? We always do as we should. Maybe it's far away, I can't exactly say. Tomorrow will come and go. This is the nature of the show. So, truth can be impossible. Truth can be challenging. Truth can be selfish. Truth can be deadly. Those are the worst kinds. Perhaps we should reconsider our truths daily. Take them out. Air them out. Get them out of storage. Seems like we pack our truths in as if they were bricks and mortar. Perhaps they're more like jellyfish or jelly beans. Who knows? Who knows? More things my grandmother never, ever said. You can butter your socks, but that doesn't make them popcorn. Don't forget that. You can't milk a thunderstorm with a leather spoon. Choice is like throwing feathers at a mountain. You can always sneeze louder tomorrow. So, seems to me we run out of options before we even give ourselves a chance to dig deeper into the subject at hand. Before we lose track of there is a possibility of no truth, or a false truth, or a backwards truth, or a toxic truth. Then we get into the danger zone and we have to grasp for truisms to pull us through so we can get into the righteous side of life and say, I know what's true. I live it. Maybe you don't. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Maybe it's beyond the pale, and all we have to do is compromise the truth. It's not fair. Some people's truths are so much more important than others, and I never could get my truth up there in the top 10. I'm always at a loss. I'm so sick of big truths. To heck with it. Maybe I'll try a new tact. Maybe I'll approach this from the point of view of the profit motive, right? If it's good for business, then it's true. Aha. That's one way of looking at things. But if I can do that with money, then I could do that with, juggling. If it helps my juggle act, then that's another truth there. So truth is fickle, absolutely. Maybe we can rewrite this whole script. Maybe we can lose ourselves in the process. Maybe we can make a deal with the devil and own all the truths and rule the world. Nah, that's old school. Now you see where this can go. This is the nature of this show. I'm singing my mind, can't you see? And it is absolutely free. Would you like to come again? Now we say it's, what rhymes with again? A pen. You can do it, and I see everyone wants to be free. I am not responsible for other people's diminishing truisms as they catapult themselves beyond the pale into other dimensions. Perhaps we are forgetting a number one rule here, which is only those that challenge you can pull back brick by brick until there is nothing left. So I'm glad you all agree with me. It sounds like we got some truths in common, and that feels good, you know? It feels good. Right in here, the thighs, it just feels like a good, solid thing. So I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing a little bit of truth with me. Yes, indeed. And we'll end with one more non-grandma truism. What do we got here? Nothing fills the void like a donut hole. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dagan. I love all your props. You're welcome. I wonder what else is in that box. Is it endless? Next up is Ed, an impressionist. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, I'm Ted, an impressionist. Just remember, if a large turkey vultures came down and started pecking your skull, they would make a deep impression in your mind, which is what I'll be doing here tonight. Okay, great. Hey, you look like a cat crowd. So here are some cat impressions. Okay. A cat pretending to be a microwave. Meow. Oh, dinner's ready. Okay. Next, here's a cat pretending to be a lava lamp. Meow. But if you speed it up real fast, it's a cat as an advertising balloon. Meow. Okay. Well, I read the room wrong. Actually, I think you're more of a dog crowd. Okay. Here's a dog as quality control inspector at the sandpaper factory. Shh, 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 shh. Rough, rough. Okay. Next, here's a dog lapping his food. 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, he gets worn out doing that, huh? Okay. Now, here's a 1969 dog digging a hole. Wow, far out hole, man. Okay. Here's a crow demonstrating punctuation. First, the exclamation point. Caw! Caw! Next, the question mark. Caw? Next, the ellipses. Caw! Caw! And the infamous combined exclamation point question mark. Caw! That's when the crow came out of the supermarket, discovered somebody dinged his car. Okay. Next, here's an owl as a journalist. Who? What? Where? Why? How? He wrote for the New York Times. Okay. Here's a chimpanzee practicing his vowels. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hi, hi, hi. And sometimes why? Okay. But now I'd like to spend some time with you to talk about my favorite group, Cake. Oh, I love Cake. Don't you love Cake? Oh, they were so famous when they came out of Sacramento back in 1984 and released their first album. Oh, I was so excited. I fell down a flight of stairs and I couldn't breathe or eat or function or practice basic human hygiene for over 6 months. But I was so excited I recovered because Cake is one of the best bands I've ever heard of. Haven't you heard of them? Oh, they're great. Yeah, their first album came out. It was so exciting. I think it reached platinum it reached semi-platinum, but it didn't matter. And do you know Cake spelled backward is ECAC? Yeah, that's the kind of things I like to think about a lot when I think about the band Cake. They're such an exciting band that I can't stop talking about them.
Shut your cake hole.
Okay. Here is a gross ton. Hello, I'm 2,000 pounds. Honk, honk. Wow, that's gross. Okay. Here's a sick virus. I've got a stomach human. Okay. Here's someone caught in a bald-faced lie. Oh, I love getting up in the morning and stroking my long, luxurious beard. Beard. Okay. Here's a man in a dizzy spell. Dizzy. D-I-Z-Z-Y. Dizzy. You know, there's nothing better than talking about pi. Don't you like calculating the circumference of a circle? Me too. But you know what I like most of all? I like calculating the square root of pi. Do you know why? Because the number never stops. You could spend all day calculating out 100 times or 200 times, past the basic 1.245. And it's so exciting. I could do it all day. Sometimes I forget to eat or drink, or even I have to remind myself to breathe because...
Shut your pie hole.
Okay. And now, here is the vacuum of space. All these dirty asteroids. Okay. Here is a negative number. I'm a 10, but my life sucks. Okay. Here's a water pervert having impure thoughts. I'd love to have a glass of tap water with a little bit of iron oxide in it. Maybe a little bit of sand at the bottom. Clearly, he didn't have a filter. Okay. Now, here is talking sandwiches. Blah, 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 oh, blah, 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 oh, blah, 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 oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I hadn't had time to translate it yet. Okay. Well, if you enjoyed this, be sure to follow me on Instagram, stalk me on peoplefinder.com, ghost me on ghostweb.com, and gaslight me at ingridbergman.com. Okay, good night.
Thanks, Ed. That was hilarious. You should do an impression of me one time. That'd be super funny. Cool. I love impressions. I think they're the funniest thing. I don't know. There's something about it. There's really something about it. I can't do it. I'm not good at impressions. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I just can't. I'm trying to think of something. I just can't. That's okay, though. Maybe next time I'll have something prepared. Next up is Gary. Welcome to the
My name is Henry Gibson. It's my only impression. Actually not. What's that? Was that from Taj Mahal?
That was mine. Maybe I picked it up.
Yeah, that's curious. Here's a what is it, the little quote at the beginning of a poem? Epigraph. Here's an epigraph. And you'll recognize I'm reading it. All good fortune is a gift of the gods, and you don't win the favor of the ancient gods by being good. You win it by being bold. Oh, that's the wrong epigraph. Damn it. I had an epigraph about truth, but I don't know where it is. Okay. Here's a haiku. Tiny insect hovers. Distant bell brings resonance. Crickets know everything.
It's yours.
Yes. Well, I'm going to wing this one. The epigraph. It's by Niels Bohr. The opposite of a small truth is a no, I don't have it. What do you think about it? Niels Bohr. I can't do a Niels Bohr imitation. The opposite of a run-in-the-mill truth is a falsehood. The opposite of a great truth is another great truth. It's one to think about. I really like that. Okay, it's an old one. Bullhead. I am 6 foot tall and carry the head of a bull upon my shoulders. I have been with you in painting, sculpture, and vision for as long as your people have memory. Many are my brethren who live in the realm of the imaginal. We take our turns stepping forward to awaken that which is lost by the thin, pale image of only human. Yes, the emergence of you hairless ones obscured your animality. My eyes upon a walking body have a haunting glow. You see in me what your consciousness would be if filtered through this brain. Raw aggression, absolute certainty, and the readiness to put down the head, or perhaps pastoral satisfaction and the filiality of a herd. That and one thing You have been denied the dexterity of a tale. You do not admit it, but when I break through the veil, you are transfixed and more than a little uncomfortable. Have I stolen some self from your mind's passage? Or have I given you something you yearn for deeply? Guilty pleasures, power, and horns too. Only those who walk the edge dare to shapeshift that form. People living in places of deep wildness have known this utter mutability of being. But as I stand before you, you receive me with wonder and revulsion. My particular form does not go down easy, but I am not here for that. The winged men floating above you and the silkies in the waters will penetrate the veil on another day. But for now, perceive this. Let your stomach churn, let your mind creep open, howling, hairy once again. Ah! Okay. Tai Chi. I'm a long-term practitioner. Wait. Wait till the movements flow from you without thought or instruction. Give yourself to it. In the first minute, you might move like a fucking armadillo. Fucking was a ad lib. In the third minute, you could move maybe like a squirrel. In the fifth minute, you could move like a fox. For a moment, you might just move like water. Whose body is this that knows coiling in and feathering out? What is this ease that comes over you? It is the ease of soft bones, fluid movement, and seeing from the inside. The ease of a smileless smile, of a doing that is simply being. Consider this. The November sky sits over the river and sends out fog, cloud, and rain. I watch the drift one upon the other, slow and immense. This too is Tai Chi. Can you teach your body this? That is going to take some time. As yet, I am no cloud, but sometimes I melt into the moves like something molten. And when I'm tired, it flows slowly and extends, and in morning's brightness I move lightly, and my heels leave the ground. When I am on the earth itself, everything is a song, and they take their turn guiding the thing inside, and the movements grow, and I know now that every time is like a streak of a spark in the night. And after all this time, I've seen such a span of possibility to move, to hold, to come down, to rise up, to tremble, to allow. Tai Chi comes from another time. Then we lived with the animals. We had more of the naturalness that carries them still through this world. And the Tai Chi, ancient repository of beauty and repose, there is this: bear walk, deer walk, wild horse's mane, holding up the sky, needle in sea bottom, like a river that flows from so long ago. Wudong Nai Gung Tai Chi. Maybe one more little one. Recently written. Chartreuse. Bluebird flies across blue sky. You crane your neck as blue sky bluebird watches. You stretch complex joints to follow bluebird, blue sky, blue day. Do bluebirds eat worms? Are they hungry in the winter? Do they feel jealous of the blue sky clouds? There is no green bird, but there are many green birds.
It's really great to see you again and hear your very peaceful work. It always makes me feel peaceful. Yeah, thank you. Next up is Tom Romeo. Welcome.
Spalding. I heard the satisfying thwack when the Spalding hit the broom handle. It flew a long, high arc toward the Quas's roof. If it bounced and landed in the street, it was an automatic double. With the bases loaded, that meant 2 runs and the game. If it landed in the gutter, we wouldn't see it again till late fall when Mr. Quas would toss it to the ground with all the others, faded, rotted, and as useless as clumps of dead, wet leaves. Please bounce. Please bounce. Please bounce. If it didn't bounce, it was an out, and we lose. End of game, no do-overs. Touch black, now you can't take it back. It meant 75 cents and a mile bike ride to the candy store, 3/4 of a mile if you cut through the path between the 2 houses that backed up to ours, then took Surrey to Aberdeen, Aberdeen to Kent, and then Kent to Hillside. Joe screamed, "I told you we should have got a pinky, Penzy pinky!" Nobody paid any attention to him. All eyes followed that ball's trajectory, but I knew he was right. The pinky only cost 35 cents, which left some money over to get pixie sticks, nickel nips, or a pair of wax lips. If it landed in the gutter, no great loss. Economically, it was the smart move. But the pathetic plunk it made, even when you hit the sweet spot, just wouldn't cut it. Sure, it was okay for monkey in the middle, or hit the stick, or even curveball in a pinch, but it was not good enough for the last game of this season. The pinky's slick, smooth surface just couldn't compare to the rough, substantial feel of a Spalding in your hand. A Spalding sailed when you threw it, flew when you hit it, stuck when you caught it. It was worth a week's allowance. So, over Joe's objections, that's what we bought. That summer had been long and glorious. Carefree weeks of playing ring alivio, hide and seek, flashlight tag, long after the night was lit only by a couple of street lamps and the blinking tail ends of what seemed like 1,000 lightning bugs. In June, our 8 years together at elementary school ended. 9 for me, Joe, and Kenny, if you counted kindergarten. On Monday, we'd start high school. Start our not-yet lives that had been waiting patiently for summer to end, for childhood to end. And so on this hot Saturday afternoon of 12 innings, the last 3 of them ties, we put our hopes on a rubber ball flying through a suburban sky toward an unknown fate. We put all our hopes on where and how that Spalding would land. Please bounce. Please bounce. Please bounce. Thank you. Desks. When you became too old for the ornate princess pink desk you inherited from your cousin, I stored it away I stored it away in the basement along with your childhood and built you a grown-up desk in the corner of your bedroom. A triangle of sturdy plywood, stained and polished, finished with half-round, nailed to cleats, screwed securely into the wall. A permanent fixture where you could think and study, paint and write. But soon your thoughts turned in on themselves. You studied your body, your life in a cruel mirror, and fixated on how nothing you saw lived up to your expectations. You painted a dark canvas with a white spiral that read, "In here everything is beautiful," while out there you wrote about loneliness and pain, saw them as permanent, and spiraled into a darkness where you almost disappeared, where we almost lost you. Almost. I ripped that desk off the wall, shattered it to splinters, burned it to ashes, chanting, "Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent." While you recovered in the hospital, your mother recovered your old pink desk from the basement and painted in bright reds and blues and golds, carefully following its Victorian curves with her brush. Painted it with white stars and phases of the moon. each stroke an incantation, a call to bring you back from the darkness, a reminder that all of creation moves through phases of light and dark and light. She conjured a desk using symbols that honored your childhood, that taught and celebrated change, a desk that wasn't permanent, a desk you could take with you. And you did. When things got dark, it reminded you they would get light again. With each passing phase, you took to heart the lesson it had to teach, and now that you live what your mother prayed into that desk, you no longer need it. Another phase of your life reached. You put the desk on the curb outside your home for someone else to discover. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. It's the way of the universe. Nothing is permanent. Save me a space. Save me a space. Not too big, but not too small either. A couple of square feet or so, just enough to hold me. I feel the same size, more or less, as I always have, but I know in your eyes I grow smaller every day, so eventually I won't take up too much room. But I'd like to know that you know where to look if you want to find me. Light it. Light the space. It doesn't have to be a bright light, just enough so that I can see and maybe be seen. I think I still reflect as much light as I used to, maybe even shine a little on my own. I can still feel the heat from my own light, but I know in your eyes I grow dim and cold, and there are brighter, warmer places you'd rather be. So a little light couldn't hurt. And amplify my voice, not too loudly, just enough to be heard from that space within the light. I know my voice is fading, becoming to you no more than echo, room tone, tinnitus. But I still have things to say. I guess that's why I talk so much to myself. I still have things to say, and I think what I have to say is worth hearing. But I guess that's up to you. It's all up to you now. When, where, how, and if you leave me just enough to be found and seen and heard. I'll wait. Oh, and if it wouldn't be too much trouble, a chair, a comfortable chair. Sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, I stare at you. I hope that doesn't sound too creepy. You see, you smile when you sleep. A beautiful, peaceful smile, and I just can't look away. Sometimes you wake up and catch me staring. Then your smile widens to a grin, and in the slumber-sweetened whisper, you say, "You're loving me, aren't you?" Yes, I am. Leave it to you to die in the fall, when bright reds, yellows, and oranges demand our attention and compel us to remember them and their beauty in the bleak black and white dead of winter. Subtlety never was an option for you, was it? If there is life after life, and we should meet in heaven, the power and passion of our love would make the angels blush and put their gods to shame. Thanks.
The second poem you read reminded me of this interview I had today about this project going on in Kingston right now where these like journalist guys from like Boston or something are out here, and they're doing this project with a bunch of local artists, writers, notable people, and it's called the Give It Up Project. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but what they are doing is getting all these people to take an object in their lives that they want to get rid of but can't, and they write something about it, and they each go to a specific location, like a store or a cafe or something in Kingston, and it's displayed with their writing, and people are supposed to write to them and tell them why they should give it up. And I thought that was a really cool idea. Reminded me of some of the stuff you were talking about in that second poem, and I think we all should spend some more time thinking about how we can minimalize our lives, and because like stuff is weight, on our backs, whether we realize it or not, and it's so, I guess like cathartic to just let go of things and just have those few things that, if you were like, if there was like a fire or something, like those few things you would keep with you. That's kind of like what I want just to have. Just tons of books. But just reminded me of that. Thank you. Next up is Tim Brennan. Welcome. Are these your books also?
Is this okay?
No.
Don't dare touch it.
No, you can touch it, but let's get it to your height.
Okay.
You're like me.
Uh-huh. Okay, thanks. To blunt the quest for universals, try the local asparagus, or exegesis, which has never comforted me. Some might ask whether I'm capable of interpretation at all. Put yourself in the reader's shoes, they tell me. Worn down souls endlessly scraping the sidewalk, standing in some beat-down city's last bookstore, reading a text by a window steamed up against the cold. Imagine that slow, gray, case-hardened light outside, its apparent lack of compassion, and the distant mountains moving truly, though gradually, into oblivion. It's all happening right there, where the cross-hatching begins to break from the black of the chiaroscured robes, on a figure in an etching, bent over a thick open book, sweating out its meaning. This is called La Moustache de Duchamp. I guess probably all know his version of the Mona Lisa with the mustache. I make a mark with pencil. The bricks refuse to align. Do you recall anxious moments on the school bus? How boys tortured all kinds of mannerisms? This morning, a chainsaw gnaws wet shavings. Mechanical complaints fashion the sound and stillness of movement all around us. I make another mark. No one will decipher it. It's cold in here rather than cool, inside the chest, where fear is a response, where the dark never seems to end. Across the street, a musician marks time, and children catch the bus. I mark again the curve of a tree. The line follows its own desire. I move to follow mine, seek more light, sharpen a shape marked by slow liquid breathing as bees drill into the porch's wood ceiling. The carrot seeks to be the stick, to companion the mind and the flesh. Before you go to bed tonight, walk slowly through the house, count all the candles, blow them out. And let's see. This poem was written after a poem by Thomas James called Letters to a Stranger. We formed his body from aluminum, bent with a vise over a Bible. The thumb we claimed at the baggage terminal. Once you stood stiffly and held in your stomach the house where you hid. Workers replaced the roof with twisted arms and rough kind of charm. Some lips were pried loose. Overhead, the blood pressure stabilized. The sky begins to skin over our wounded lack of understanding. And the bells are quiet this morning as a woman, deaf since birth, lifts memories from her shopping cart into the light. I've been thinking lately of a color I would like to invent, sampling the smell of a sleeper coach on a train encrusted with crows, the rain hanging motionless above it. You painted my face as a mirror once. I'm not sure what we should call it. Last night I reached for the one beside me in bed, who breathes oceans from the glacial melt, who then rose early, leaving the children to dissect an unfinished dream. Later I fell from a plane into a flock of geese. They say I won't be returned, not even traded. Thank you.
Could you reread that line about thinking about a color you wanted to invent?
Sure. Have to find it. I've been thinking lately of a color I would like to invent, sampling the smell of a sleeper coach, of a train encrusted with crows, the rain hanging motionless above it. Thanks. Just this one. This is a new one, and it's a new one. The babies who take pleasure in style. Your eyebrows pursed when she asked for rosy views installed in all future contracts. The opposite of color was often used as an excuse for what the painter may or may not execute in that boat all day out on the river. The design became confused. 1 minute, an alliance of large fists engaged a lemonade stand. The next, it laid spoiled persimmons gently at your feet. You would postulate then, and back out of the range of whoever's Wi-Fi is bleeding lightly and in sync, disrupting your sleep, to join the group whose desires include a quick lay on a hilly gravesite. Happily, no embalmer has touched either the mouths or the feet, so the memories remain free to trade in all kinds of distortions. But don't badger any strings of code calculating the cost of it all. This baby is one of a kind. Thanks.
I kind of crafted a different kind of reading this time. I usually just read all new stuff, but I haven't really been writing that much. I will unfortunately admit, I've just been in like a period of transition in my life. I just moved. I was like away in Tennessee, which is like a whole different galaxy, it feels. And I don't know, like I think I needed a bit of a break to find inspiration again. But I recently found inspiration in mysticism, which I've been like deeply engrossed in, and I read a book on it, which I forgot to bring with me, of course. It's just called Mysticism by Simon Critchley. It was recently published by the New York Review of Books, and it's an incredible book. It's really, it's just, it's one of those things you read and you're like, it's just great when you feel so seen by something, and that's how that book made me feel, very seen and understood. And so I've been thinking about God and about just like faith in general, I guess. I'm not a religious person, but I am a very spiritual person. And I decided for my reading today, I would kind of go back in my in my writing over the years and find poems I've written that struck me as a bit mystical and read them to you. So that's what I'm doing. This first poem I wrote in January of 2022. It's called Jay. I dreamt of you as you were, unable to interpret. As I drove home, I became emotionless thinking of you, as if you were here, the voided space of my car filled with you. I always believed in heaven, one that you could see with your own two eyes, that exists above the clouds where the sun pours out of. I saw you there, glorious, divine, as the sky moved away from me. Thanks. This next one is more recent, from January 2024. It's called Push, Pull, Pray, and I reference in the first line an actual mystic, Marjorie Kemp, who, for those of you who do maybe possibly know her, she was known for her screaming, her public screaming. She liked to scream and just be very impassioned with the power of Christ and whatever. But I read her book, which was, she dictated to a scribe who wrote it, and it's just totally mad. And she seems like just such a crazy, hysterical woman, and I loved that. It's called Push, Pull, Pray. I read Marjorie Kemp in the hope that I will better understand how to relate to God and the world around me, but instead, I only see her God as a piece of me, one that I should worship and pray to as she does. I've been creating a fortress of books to defend myself with, my measly defense system. It's laughable, really, how it could all topple down with a light push. It's only for show, really. It's just for show, but please don't knock it down. On my way into work, I came across a song in my head. It was a faint melody at first that turned into a full-blown salsa, and I nearly crashed my car because I started swaying my hips uncontrollably to the rhythm in my head. There was a snake on the side of the road. It was holding up a little sign that said, "My name is Nathaniel. Can you help me find my son?" Once my fortress, you can walk around the curtain. Once my fortress inevitably comes crashing down, I'll be obliterated by my own defense system, only a face under piles of pages, incapable of believing that my fall was the result of my ascension, that these words could be my plight, my downfall, my demise. But this really is only a fantasy, for books are so light, I could easily push right through them. Thanks. Thanks for joining us. We're literally almost done. I'm so sorry. You're going to hear like 2 poems and you're going to clap and it's going to be great. This is a heavy one, so I'm sorry. It's about God. It's like, I wrote this when I was 18, guys, okay? So this is like really old, from May 2018. I don't even know how many years ago that was, but that feels like a lifetime ago to me. So yeah, I wrote this as a little baby. And it's called God, and it's about God. My God does not exist in religion. My God does not have a long beard with a halo over his head. My God does not have to save me. My God resides in my own being. My God isn't a he or a she. My God is me. I am the only person that can control my destiny. I don't need any God to tell me otherwise. I shouldn't feel the need to be dependent on a supernatural force for my own happiness and satisfaction in life. No God is going to save me, hold my hand when I mourn, alleviate my stress when it weighs me down. The only power in control of these things is my own mind. Some may call this solipsism. I call it true faith. Faith in no other but the being that stares back in the mirror, and, of course, the only true superpower in this world, nature. The only thing that we as people will never be able to control. If you believe that God has forces beyond human capacity, can do things that we as people could never fathom ourselves, you believe in the holy force of Mother Nature. There is no God that reaches down from the heavens and saves you from despair. When you feel the will of God inside you, that is only your own will itself, trying to lead you down the right path, because at the end of the day, you are the only person able to make that decision to change. It's almost pathetic to see an entire group of people who will look to the sky for forgiveness. The sky will never forgive you. The only person able to forgive you is yourself entirely. I pray to waking up in the morning and having the energy to get out of bed. I pray to the trees which provide me the life to live. I pray to become something. I pray to suffering. I pray to love. We shouldn't pray to suffer less, only to love more. We should accept suffering as a gift. It makes us stronger. Without it, we would all be weak and feeble-minded. I resent your God for taking you away from complete control of your life. I want to believe in myself because I know there is no God greater than the God within me. Thanks. Oh, that's so crazy. I was really debating on not reading that because it's kind of cringy for me to read because I don't know. But I do still feel all of those things. And it's just interesting, all of the connections I made to writing that so long ago and then just reading this book recently about mysticism and how it's really just all about love and trying to find the love of God or whatever love means to you. And I think that's just what can save humanity. Truly. So this next one I wrote actually recently, a few days ago, so I kind of lied, but that's okay. Kind of a bit in response to reading this book and also really trying to write a poem. Okay, it's called God Without Answers. God is most present in my morning car rides. When I tell people my commute to work, they say I must love driving over the mountain. Yes, I do, I'll say, but what they don't know is that there are mountains far greater than this one. Yes, mountains greater than the ridge that defines my entire career, but I suppose this is as subjective as it gets. For how can we relate the greatness of nature? Is a waterfall in Akron, Ohio, better than a waterfall in Akureyri, Iceland? Is Stonehenge better facing the sun or away from it? Do all religious experiences occur in moments of solitude? This, however, is not subjective. Is oral better than penetration? Is there an age where it becomes unacceptable to still sleep with stuffed animals? Is the concept of best just a narrow-minded conception of our objective realities? How many cigarettes are too many cigarettes? What does it mean when I say I'm a woman? Does it mean anything? How many questions must I ask before I arrive at one answer? Thanks. It's very silly. Thank you. Thanks. I have one more. I wrote this last night. I also wasn't going to read this, but sometimes my way of processing rather painful things in my life, as maybe you poets out there may know, is writing a poem. So I had kind of a rough night last night. I recently got out of a long-term relationship, and it's been tough for my ex-partner more than me, but it's been tough. And I was I I saw them yesterday and, whatever. So I wrote a little poem about it. It's called A Color, a Change. Checkmate, you said, but I knew I find a way out. I always seem to. I said I can't because I'm on my period, and in a way, it's true. When I went upstairs to the bathroom after you left, I washed my feet, a feeling of wetness between my legs, knowing the color would tell all. Like the sky before sunset, there was only the thought that a pink would soon appear. I am all ocean, all particles of foam wrestling to shore. Thanks. Thank you. Did you guys want to perform anything or? Yeah. Oh, cool. What's your name?
My name is Terry.
Terry. Well, welcome to the stage, Terry.
It's called To My Son Jesse, aged 9. He's 41 now. So I've performed it before a few times, and afterwards, I always realize I've left something out. So hopefully I won't leave anything out this time. All right. There is a wall that surrounds me, but it doesn't block my view. I can still see others at the park, play with children. Relax, they laugh while I chase after you. Your hands flap in time as you run at rapid speed. You pat all the little ones on the head. You place a few gentle pats and utter a euphonious, "Isn't he cute?" Sometimes the children you pat are as big as you. They give you a strange stare and back away. I smile and strive to emulate the sun, but it cannot shine through this wall of difference. Keeps me from the park at peak hours, from the mall and the museum. It keeps you from friends. Yet, back in our haven, the wall crumbles as you suddenly put your long, thin arms around my neck, give me a soft squeeze and a ma kiss, and murmur warm affections.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks for coming. Someone else just walked in. Hey, were you looking to perform?
Yeah, I don't have it memorized.
Okay, that's fine. That's not like a rule or anything. I can't do it. I'm like so jealous when anyone can. I also haven't tried, so there's that. But what's your name? Loren. Welcome to the stage.
Oh, am I going?
Yeah, you're going right now.
The back of my tongue hurts all the time, pulling and bending her into different animals, braiding these many personhoods together under the tight blanket of her own tissue. She is exhausted from clicking and pruning, trying to coax and smother the rage that makes my brothers glisten, thinking the right pattern of word might liberate them from this, my father's heirloom, the only substance keeping them upright, fish food slurped down from the meniscus they swim in. But we realize we fumbled it. We took the rage into our own bellies, where it beget itself and made soot and ash of everything. It hollowed out memories and rolled sorrow between our fingers till we were left with only the outline of women, but the hacking of trapped dogs, chewing at the bars and bleeding from our gums. A foaming mouth demands requital, and revenge is the only viable fantasy left to be conjured from the heavy syrup of grief, rolling down the walls, dripping off tables, keening all over this house. We know their bodies, our bodies, your bodies. They're all just cowards, begging to be made safe, with miles of nerves mapped out across a desperate, tiny spirit, and gunpowder keg hormones bursting against our walls, wishing us all into heroism, wishing us into revolutionaries, and yet not peacemakers. But I want to feel the soft touch of God slowly pulling a cool scarf across my face before I see us tear down the kingdom around us. Tear it down to the studs, not to rebuild, but to kill each architect who knows how to make a sturdy home. When will we understand that retribution is a substance, and it is unforgiving to swallow it whole? When does rage stop feeling righteous, and we learn that the Ouroboros is not always rebirth, but rather self-mutilation, handing our hate back and forth, back and forth? And when you scream for freedom and hear an echo, do you know that it is not because the space around you is vast, but because the walls are so high? That's it.
I'm going to pick your brains about how you heard about this because I'm always so curious. Our next event is the 28th, I believe. Is that right, David? I'm so sorry. I'm like the worst host. Okay. I'm going to 29th. Okay, so that's a Friday. Friday, August 29th, next White Noise. You guys should come because it's going to be genuinely like so cool. We have a featured performer, the current Ulster County Poet Laureate, Mike Jerkovich, is going to be performing. And yeah, he's super cool. I wrote an article about him, and, we're going to just read some really cool poems. And I'm so glad so many poets came here tonight, because I feel like I'm always like yearning for that more. There's a lot of performers who come here, which I love. Like I love, the clowns, the comedians, the singer-songwriters. It's all amazing to me, but obviously I have a soft spot for the poets. I guess that's my mortal coil, my cross to bear. And but yeah, so thrilled that everyone was sharing really amazing work, and it's just such a privilege to hold this space. My name's Robyn. Been your host tonight, and I hope to see you guys on the 29th. White Noise signing off.